On today's episode, we're back. Reason I have my phone is I recorded this previously and my mic cut out halfway through. So we'll let that get us into our podcast. So I want this to be like a funny comedic podcast, but like this first episode, kind of like getting to know me a little bit. Kind of, I'm no fucking expert, obviously. I just barely had a baby. He's only 3 months old. So I'm not talking from like an expert's point of view. I'm talking more as this is what's happening to me and this is what my current mind frame is, so to speak. So to get into the podcast, I had recorded the previous episode. Well, not the previous. It was supposed to be this one. It was supposed to release today, which is Tuesday, but releasing this Wednesday now. And the audio was cut out, like I'd said. The mic was cut out, and it just wasn't as good as I'd like it. And I want to talk about like setting an example for our kids. And it starts with you. It starts now. Like stuff like this, like it's recorded. I don't know if in a couple of years they'll be able to see this or not, but who knows? Probably. It's on the internet now. But if I just put out something lackadaisical, and I know it's not what I could put out, that's not setting an example, I feel like. So like I had this decision to put something out that's horrible. Well, it wasn't horrible, but just wasn't as good as it could be. Or redo it and put out something that I could be proud of. And I think that sets an example, just to do your best work, be proud of your work. Even if you're not a dad right now, like when you go to work, be proud of your work. When you do work in the house or help your wife or something, like do your best work. That's all it comes down to. I don't know. That's helped a lot with trying to be a better version of yourself. And when I found out my wife was pregnant, I went on like this whole journey, fitness journey, mental journey, and of just trying to be a better version of myself, my 2.0 self. And I think it's really helped and kind of get me ready to be a dad. I'm not saying I'm ready at all in the slightest, but I feel like it'll help in life to be a better partner, to be a better friend, better father, son, mother, sister, whatever it is. So yeah, I think that goes in every aspect of life. But we're going to get into it. Let me see. I just want to make sure it's still recording. But I have some notes here. So, speaking more on this, I think you got to be, I've heard it a lot. You got to be insane to your craft. I've heard Conor McGregor talk about it a lot. But to be insane to your craft is to be insane to your hobbies, If you're going to be good at golf, you can't just go out and golf and drink and fuck off, Like, you have to actually try. That's the only way you're going to get better, especially with golf. I still suck, but I try. And you can always have those little games where you just drink and you have a good time and you don't try, but they're fun once in a while. But being insane to your craft, like, helps when you have a kid. Like, do everything that you can, like when you change a diaper, try and change it better the next time. When I first started changing a diaper, I sucked. I'll just say that. I was slow. I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't know what, it's super simple, but got peed on a couple times you know, and you're changing those. So the next time you learn, to cover it up, or you got to be a little bit quicker and then you just got to change it again, especially when they're newborns or something like that, little infants. But you get better. You get better at swaddling. Swaddling's kind of hard. It's kind of fun, but they don't really teach you anything. And, you know, I don't know, like be insane to the craft of being a better father, just like what we were just talking about, you know, like try and be there more, try and put in the extra time, put down your phone. Like that's some stuff I still find myself doing is, especially now that he's 3.5 months, like when he's awake, he's awake. You got to play with him. You got to kind of like, I don't know, just like be there for him, make him smile, try and, play with the little rattle and everything. But I still find myself like on TikTok or Instagram or some dumb shit, which really doesn't matter in this grand scheme of things, when you could be there for your child. So I think that's super important. Just the little things, Um, learn how to cook. I'm still learning how to cook. I don't know how to fucking cook, but especially my wife's breastfeeding. So when she's gone, getting her hair done did or something, she like pumps and leaves me these bottles and like learn how just to put them in the microwave, what temperature is best, how to feel that. I don't know, just stupid stuff. But the first time I was just had him just alone, I was scared shitless, honestly, and that's a really kind of scary thing. But it's not at the same time. Like you'll do fine. But just like anything, first time you do something, it's scary. Like coming home from the hospital, that drive I've driven my whole life, never got a ticket really, no problems. But man, that on that drive home from the hospital, freaking death grip on the steering wheel. Didn't know, didn't like other drivers for the first time. I don't like other drivers, especially in the snow. But like, you really don't like other drivers and think they're stupid, and you know what your parents are talking about. But so yeah, be insane to your craft. Be insane to being a dad. Like, be there. Be insane to being just better, I guess, so to speak. Um, next topic I want to talk about is, like finding time to work on yourself. Find time to go golf. Find time to have that hobby. Find time to be a better version of yourself. Find time to go to the gym. I don't know. Get a little break from everything. Find time to go to the gym for an hour. Like, shit gets frustrating for sure. Gets really frustrating. And I never want to be one of those parents that takes my anger out on the kid for like he's just there and I'm just pissed off. Even if it's something at work or some bullshit, like I know it'll probably happen, but I want to try not to. So like I found the best thing to do this year is like take a step back, go to the gym, get your head right and come back. Or like take a deep breath. Maybe you can't get away. Take a deep breath and just I don't know, do the best you can. Just try not to take it out on the kid cuz man, they look up to you. Like even though he's so small, like when he smiles at you, you feel that unconditional love. And I think that's super cool. Super cool when they just look at you and smile, or they look around for you and once they find you, they just giggle. That's the best thing in the world. Like that's my pre-workout. Like I take pre-workout, but like man, just he's on my screensaver. So every time I look at my screensaver, I just see my son, and it's like, yeah, okay, I'm doing this for him. Like I'm being a better version of myself for him. Or like when I gotta go to work, it's like, man, I don't want to get up. I don't want to go to work. and I see him in the morning, and it's like, okay, going to work for him. It makes it easier. Sounds stupid, but it does. It really does. Um, but yeah, be a better version of yourself. I guess that's what this podcast is about. Ultimately, just be a better version of yourself. Learning from experiences. Um, like I said, no expert, but just try and be a better version of yourself. Also, what we're going to talk about is products. So, throughout this podcast, I want to talk about products that make my life easier, like I've said in the last video. Um, Man, spend the extra money because some of this stuff is a lot better. I feel like, in my opinion. Um, we got this. It's called a Nuna, Nuna car seat, and there's a lot of brands out there that are the same, like same features, I guess, so to speak. I don't know what one's the best on the market, but it has a little base that clips into your car. It's super simple. The car seat just clicks into it. You set it on top, clicks into it, and you're good to go. You hear the click every time, stuff like that. Like, spend the money because I know everybody out there's got some expensive stuff. Like, even if you don't make the most money, you have a hobby and you have some expensive stuff, and you don't think you could afford it, but you could spend the money on your kid. You know, like, I think that's the most important thing. But like that Nuna car seat, it has a stroller, and the car seat clicks into it. Everything's compatible. You know, kind of like an iPhone or Apple products. Like, it's a good ecosystem. What they say, but overall, like, I've liked it. I think my wife's liked it. I'll throw a picture up on the screen if I could find one. But yeah, like, spend that extra money. Don't cheap out. Don't be a cheap ass. It's one of the things I've found out. Not found out personally, but like, even in bottles and different, like, burp cloths or anything, like, just don't cheap out. Like, that's your kid. I don't know. Just, yeah, don't be a cheap ass, you know? Like, we all know everybody wants to spend a couple $100 on some nice things. Spend it on your kid. And that's one thing I've learned. Like, I've felt I have a hard time now spending money on myself. Like, I want to, but I have a hard time spending money on myself when I know I could spend it on my son or my wife, or, like, Christmas is coming up. It was I have a funner time buying my son, like, Christmas presents and clothes and stuff like that, and my wife stuff, than I do for myself. But yeah, I feel like everybody's that way, even if you're not a parent. I don't know. Some people aren't, but I like being a gift giver for sure a lot more. Let's see. What else do we got here? Um, One thing I've learned, especially when he came home from the hospital, um, and this goes to, like, being a parent, not being a parent. Like, you just gotta get the fuck up. Like, you lose a lot of sleep as a parent, and especially when they're in the hospital, they swallow a lot of amniotic fluid on the way out a lot of times, and can't they have to, like, spit it up, like, throw it up almost, and it's some pretty thick stuff. And man, that was the scariest time in the hospital. I'd just be sleeping for, an hour and a half out of the full 24 hours, and I hear a little cough or, like, a little spit up, and man, you're up, you're trying to burp him, making sure he's okay. And that's the scariest thing. But just take that into life. I feel like in the morning when your alarm goes off, don't lay in bed, watch TikTok, and we all do it, YouTube, anything like that. Like, man, you got to get up, go to the gym, go to work. Like, we talk about finding time. That's when I go to the gym. Trying to start going to the gym again is in the morning, because after work I want to help my wife, and see my son and play with him and kind of relieve her, and so she could go do whatever she's got to do. And I don't know, like getting up is just in general helps a lot because before he was here, there's a lot of times like alarm would go off, you roll out of bed, or you just watch TikTok and you take your time, and then you're late to work, and then it kind of sets the mood for your day. But like, man, if you get up, get your day started, and take care of business, I'm in a better headspace, and that's helped me as a dad. Um, Being in a better headspace, taking the day on, like any challenges that come up, any spit ups, any blowouts, like you got to change the diaper, give them a bath, stuff like that. Like you just take the day head on, like any sicknesses they get. That's a big one. Dealing with that's one of the hardest things to deal with because you can't do anything while they're an infant or a newborn. And you kind of just got to let them get it through their system while checking if it's not something serious. Like that was, scariest time because for the first 2 months, a lot of people don't know I didn't know is that they don't have an immune system, so you have to be extra careful, making sure they don't get too sick with something called like RSV or COVID now, especially in that first 2 months, and like it's like flu season right now, so it makes it hard to go to the gym. I'm there wiping my equipment off before I even use it because I don't want those germs to come back and translate to him. Or like at work, I use my gloves. A lot of people hate on gloves or whatever. I'm in a trade, but man, I want to hold my son when I come home. I don't want my hands to be all fucked off. I want them to be soft and like not scratch them or anything. So I don't know, just doing the little things like that, you kind of think about a little bit more. But yeah, germs and sicknesses and colds are kind of a big deal in the winter. But one thing for the new parents out there is they have an RSV shot now, a little vaccination that they didn't used to have. It's kind of new. RSV makes them like take extra like steps into breathing and really fucks with their breathing and their lungs and everything like that. And it could be deadly. And yeah, they have a new vaccine, so talk to your pediatricians. And we had to get on a wait list. And man, that pissed me off because we were in there for his 3-month checkup, 2 month checkup, one of them. And we asked them about it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we don't have any. We're waiting for some. Yada yada yada. If we get some, we could call you." And it's like, "Okay, sweet." 2 weeks later, someone in the family goes to get a flu shot and asks about it at the U. They're like, "Oh yeah, we have it. You should call your pediatrician." We call them and they're like, "Oh, we got some in. We went through it. We don't know if we're getting another shipment in. You could put your name on a wait list." It's like, the fuck? We were here 2 weeks ago. Could have gotten the wait list. But so we ended up getting on the wait list. About a week and a half later, we got some. So it worked out, but not the best, situation. But it helps for sure. But yeah, let's see. I think that's where we're going to end the podcast. It's a little shorter of a podcast. Next podcast, I hope we have a guest on. Talking, I want to get people in here that, like have a hobby or, want to talk about their lives, their experiences as a dad, or they might not be dads. And I want to get them in here and explain their hobbies, talk about bodybuilding or, cars or motorcycles, whatever, guitars, whatever the hell it is. Like everybody has a hobby. That's what I want this podcast to be about. I want it to be, like I said at the beginning of this podcast, comedic and kind of funny, but also informational at the same time, and have people talk, like tell me about a lot of hobbies I don't know. That's the one thing about me is I love trying new shit out. And I I think that'll help me find new things to do, new hobbies, and hopefully might help you find a hobby. But that's where we're going to end today's podcast. Again, on another note, you know, be insane at your craft, be a better person, be a better dad or whatever, what have you. Kind of put in that work, find time, spend a little extra time with them, find time to, like learn how to change a diaper better, learn how to put their clothes on faster so they're not crying or, something like that. But anyway, thank you for tuning in.